can you see this person's perspective,
Right.
but can you see beyond this barrier that is in front of you right now? And we do get to that place of gratitude and actually appreciation. Now, it takes us refusing to stay in a victim mindset in order to do that.
We're not in a victim mindset. I'm just losing my mind playing the wrong intro. Hey, Teri. How are you? Are you there?
Where's our Devon O'Day?
Can you not see
I don't
me?
know if anybody can see me or hear me because
We can
I
see
am
you.
on her
We can see you,
thing.
and we can hear you, and we can see you.
And if you're commenting and you can see me, I can't see the comments because they're on her end also.
Oh no, we can see you. I'm gonna send you a message. Okay. All right. I'm gonna send her a little private message here. And hear you. For some reason, we've had some glitches today. I don't know what the deal is, but
Can you see me?
Yeah. Yes,
Oh.
we can see you. Are you here now?
Me? Yeah.
See, we could hear you before, and it was so crazy. I don't know what the deal is, but
That is so bizarre because I was like, I don't know. We're having a little bit of an issue here and I can't see comments and I can't see anything, but
yeah, we hear now. Can you see me now?
I can. Can you see me?
Yes, and this is perfect to set up what the show is about today.
Yeah, what are we talking about? I was talking with a client just a few minutes ago and they were like, what's the show about today? And I was like, I have no idea.
Creating your own peace. I decided we were talking about, if y'all don't know, Teri creates peace wherever she goes. She creates paradise and peace wherever she goes. You go to her office, you walk in and you just kind of go, it feels that way. And Teri, I have run into so many people, including me, that have chaotic lives. There's chaos all around us. I mean, there's busyness, there's stress, there are chaotic people that we associate with that, the people that are always a nervous bundle of blah, and all of a sudden, and we can get caught up in the wake of that. Mm-hmm. So how do we, if we decide, I used to carry around a stone that said peace in my pocket, and I'd reach in there and I could rub my fingers along the letters and feel it. It's like, okay, peace. And you can stop and you can get peace, but choosing, and people think negativity is just, well, they're just a negative person, but it starts with people who are very critical. Now, if like, well, I just don't really like that. Well, I just don't really like that. Well, this isn't very good. Well, that isn't very good. And I started realizing I had a lot of critics in my life, not critical of me, but just critical of everything. Mm-hmm. And I started realizing it was affecting me to be around that energy. It's like, well, I mean, even a bologna sandwich can be awesome.
Right.
If you choose to see the awesomeness, especially if you get them in Bucksnort. But I mean, that's another story.
That's a whole nother talk show. Right?
A whole nother talk show. Well, let's talk a little bit about creating, you end the show with increase the peace. And that's kind of where we're going to start today. How do you literally increase the peace?
Well, that's a really good question because, I think increasing the peace means being in your present happy place, but also understanding that you can be jerked out of that at any given time. You can cross paths with someone at any given time, and they can jerk you out of your peace. Mm-hmm. And you can wild out. You can find that you're not acting the way you like to act. And right. Accountability in that part is bringing yourself back into your place. You're not going to convince anyone of anything, but you have to stay true in your own mindset of, I'm doing the best that I can do to create grounding and balance in my space.
You're going to love this. Mama Pat, who Faith showed her how to watch the show, and she watched our show. Oh. And she she's had some what they think is a cluster stroke. So she has what they're calling deficits on her left side. So walking is not easy for her, and she's trying, and she was just standing by the bed. And Faith said, "What are you doing, Mama?" She says, "I'm practicing my grounding." Is that not the sweetest thing you've ever heard?
That is.
I'm practicing
Yay.
grounding.
Yay, Mama Pat.
Mama Pat is working it, y'all. She is working it so hard in her PT, her physical, occupational, and therapy, and she's working on it. And she is watching what we're doing here. Corinne is here with us, and I love Elizabeth saying good morning and welcome to Wednesday. I love that. Welcome to Wednesday. And also Wacky Wednesday. It happens. It started out that way. And Corinne says, bologna sandwich for breakfast every day. See? Isn't that the coolest? I just love that. Joyce is with us. Good afternoon, beautiful Joyce. And Elizabeth says, that's precious, talking about Mama Pat. You know, she did not want to walk outside barefooted because she's just scared to death of snakes. Just scared to death of snakes. Well, you know, it's a little bit, but she can stand next to her bed barefooted and just hold on and say, I am grounding and I'm in this moment.
Absolutely.
You know, and, you know, I look at your piece starts a lot of times in your outward surroundings. Just start by, I've never seen someone who can get rid of things as easily as you can.
Yeah. I mean, like as far as possession stuff, because you have to surround yourself with the things. And I'm not talking about getting rid of stuff and then collecting more. It's not about that. It's about having a space that where you look, when you're in that space, you feel peaceful. It's the clothes that you wear. It's if you have something that you love and you just like, I mean, you know, I've gifted things to people that when I wear them, I love them, but I'm like, I love you, but I don't love you. And so I know someone else will appreciate it more. And so rehoming those things, you know, I said to someone the other day, be leery of those people who can get rid of people in their lives quickly, because that's probably a pattern, you know, where they can push people out, push people back, push people down, push them out. That's not the same thing as getting rid of or rehoming things that just don't necessarily feel. I've had people go, oh, I love this. I saw this. I thought of you. I bought it for you. And it's like, you know, it's wonderful, and I really appreciate that. But
the clutter is kind of where some of that chaos begins, you know, and one of the things that I think is an interesting part of creating peace in your environment, once you start dealing with the clutter, I know I've been dealing with clutter for a while now, but I started laughing. Hey, Steve Burney just joined us. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
As I was getting rid of the clutter, and I said, you know, my clutter was mating down in the basement for some reason. It just was making more clutter. So I've been really in the get rid of. But it truly is freeing to get rid of, to bless other people, to say goodbye to things. I mean, it is incredibly freeing. So that's where it starts. And another thing that you change in your surroundings is aromatherapy. That's a very important part of it. And because what we take in orally and and then take in by the sense of smell, what we hear and what we smell together creates memories.
Absolutely. And I have several aromatherapy essential oils, but I also love incense. I love the Nag Champa that comes from India. It just has an aroma, a scent to it that just, yeah, like if peace had a scent, that's the scent for me.
Mhm.
I can burn it in the house. I can burn it at the office. I don't burn it in the office, but I do burn it outside the office.
Mhm.
And those are little peace pockets, and there's just something about it. Even if you just get a slight, a lot of people have little scents of things that they love. You get a slight little
Mhm.
of it, and it's just like, oh, and that even can go back to childhood. People can get the smell of, beans and cornbread or
Mhm.
pies or, whatever it is that a person is cooking, and it works both ways. You can get a whiff of something too that can throw you into completely being dysregulated, or, you can stay in that place of peace. And I tell people, when you're creating a space for peace, you don't just walk in one day and just go, this is where everything is going to go.
Yeah.
No, this is where
Mhm.
everything is going to go. It doesn't work that way. Things find you, you move them around, get them where you want them to be. And then it just starts to work together. And then if it's an outdoor space, what you recognize is that nature works with you too. You know,
Mhm.
um, I love to start a fire and then listen to the crickets and then listen to the frogs. And I actually posted something the other night on Instagram. I was just sitting out by the fire. It was so peaceful. It was the crickets and it was the frogs, and then the Otis barked. And I just had to laugh about it because it was like, here we are in this wonderful peace pocket, and this little knucklehead just goes crazy because there's a squirrel bouncing across the yard 100 yards away.
I love it. I love it. That just so funny. And Joyce, she's so hilarious. I'm poking white beans and cornbread and sitting here smelling it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Joyce, that's awesome. There's a certain amount of that's peace for me as well. You have those smells of the kitchen and cooking going on, and that's its own piece. Are there things that we can do with color that can affect our piece, like room color? Because
Mm-hmm.
I have noticed there are certain room colors. I know I got a bunch of criticism because when I had my house in Donaldson, I painted the rooms kind of a chocolate mousse color. And then I painted my bedroom like a dark raisin. Everybody said, "Oh, it's just too dark. It had a lot of white trim and stuff and big, huge windows and stuff like that." And I had a dark green, hunter green carpet that worked. But I felt so peaceful in that because for me, it was this cave like surrounding of, okay, it felt cool. It felt comforting to me. Chocolate
Mm-hmm.
mousse was a good color for me. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
but it was exactly the color of a bowl of chocolate mousse. And for some reason that did more because I tried it burgundy. I tried it a bright light pink. I tried it all sorts of different colors, but I didn't feel at home until I had that chocolate mousse color.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, colors play a big role in it, and colors, because they stimulate the brain. So
Hmm.
you have to know, sometimes people can be in a situational or a lower vibrational, a depression type state, and darker colors actually are more triggering for them. Or
Okay.
or if they're sad, darker
Mhm.
colors are more triggering because it feels darker. And so people will
Mm.
say, put yourself in lighter surroundings or wear lighter clothes, both material wise and also
Mhm.
color wise. Um, and there's no right or wrong to it. It's a
Mhm.
trial and an error. I mean, I've had my walls on my homes have always been the chocolate mousse, if you can imagine the 70s color palette,
Mhm.
the deep, deep golds, the olive greens, the
Mhm.
burnt oranges. And I've always loved those colors. They feel so good. But now I'm in a space where I'm like, and people say this all the time, they're like, I don't see you as a gray person. But I've actually played around with some contrasting colors as I have at my office.
Mhm.
And I'm liking that lighter color palette. There's something about the season of my life where it feels like it needs to be lighter colors. And so,
Yeah, follow what's in here. How do the
mhm,
colors make you feel?
mhm, yeah. And, and you can get a few pieces of artwork. Elizabeth knows. She's been, she came to my office, was kind enough to come and wallow around in the paint and the wallpaper and all of that with me. And there's just something about being able to create an environment that when you walk out of it and then you walk back into it, it naturally feels good. You don't have to convince yourself that it feels good. It just feels good.
Yeah. It's amazing. Elizabeth says it's a process. I'm finally starting to fully create my peaceful surroundings in my home after 2.5 years here. We know it when it comes to us, and having the patience to wait on that. I love that. And Joyce says, reminds me of my grandmother. Always a great feeling. I know, sitting there with a pot of beans on the stove. Elizabeth says it's not their space to live in. It has to be peaceful to you. My most peaceful places are very dark colors.
Yeah. And again, it's that way. There are some people who love white walls. They love everything white walls, everything white trim, white walls, all of it, not eggshell. We're talking about stark white.
Yeah.
And that's a little too bright for me. Like the white walls, the white linens, the white everything. I'm like, ooh, this feels too sterile for me. But, it works for some people. Some people love it. And that's why it is such an individual thing. I mean, I'm sure people could walk into my home and go like, girl, what are you doing with these burnt orange walls in this bedroom? But I'm like, well, it works. It works. And there's something about the light on the walls when the sun's coming up. There's a feeling to it. You
have to look like I was in my most recent big transition. I kept being drawn to, and it started, I was walking through because I had some things I needed. So I was walking through, I'm love to thrift. I'm a thrifter. I love to go through Goodwill. I was taking stuff to Goodwill, and then I walked through, and there were these mugs. They were nice, big, and they were just the perfect mug. They were like hand warmer mugs, they call them. They were kind of like, they go into a circle and then back up, and they were this sunshine yellow. And those 4 yellow mugs, I couldn't wait to make my coffee every morning. They made me be in a good mood. It's like the sunflowers. And then I was drawn to sunflowers. And then I was drawn to everything sunshine oriented. And it's amazing how your body will gravitate to the things that make it feel better when you're trying to be in a healthy place. When you are creating your healthy place, when you are not drinking, and there are people who use that to create their peace, alcohol to create their peace. I have not found that to be true in any juncture in my life with me or anybody else that I was around. Alcohol opened up some portals. And so I chose, my peace was to not have that. My relaxation drink can be just something. I'm really into teas right now, really into teas. So hibiscus tea seems to be my go-to right now.
Nice. Yeah. And you know what? And chaos can be peace pockets for some people, and not because they like the chaos, but because their family of origin is chaotic and they have a sense of control in the chaos, even though they really don't. And so that in the moment of the chaos, it doesn't bring peace, but it brings them a sense of peace afterwards. And then after that, it's usually a sense of regret.
Good point. Elizabeth, your offices are very calming to walk into. Yeah. Corinne's color, clear blue, does it for me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Elizabeth, dark colors, plants, macrame, and tea is perfectly peaceful to me. See, it's different for everybody. Sometimes it's candles and sometimes it's a fire. I always say that sometimes when you have all of your elements, air, earth, wind, and fire, the earth, wind, fire, water, all of those together in a peaceful environment sometimes round it out for you, whether it's a little fountain or something like that, or just having something, even a little foot bath you can put your feet in. Sometimes that helps you with your peace. If you don't have like a pool to go and jump in, or maybe you make your own pool. I watched this weekend of these really crazy little, people that I mean, it's not crazy at all. They just, some of them had the big round stock tanks and made a little pool out of that
Mhm.
stock tank and just got in it.
There's
Uh,
so many ways that you can be crafty and
mhm,
um, receptive to things like that. You know, like I have a
mhm,
pool, but I'm moving, so I won't have a pool, you know,
mhm,
in the next few months. So, but there's ways that you can, there's ways that you can find those pockets of peace, you know. And
mhm,
like you said, you can create peace wherever you go. My former home that I had, I cried when I left that home because the backyard was, it was an oasis. It was so peaceful. There were the lights and the hammocks and, you know, the candles, and it was so peaceful, you know, and it felt good. And
mm,
then when I got into the home that I'm in now, it wasn't the same yard, but it is equally peaceful. So, you know, and you know, you were just here not long
mhm,
ago. We
mhm.
sat out and didn't talk about much and just listened to nature, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really an amazing thing when you just, when you allow yourself the space
Hmm.
to let everything go and to be
Hmm.
just, and listening to no music, listen to, but music plays a big part of it too. For
Hmm.
me, like for instance, for me, if I hear the radio and it's terrestrial radio with people talking on it, I'm working. I've been behind a soundboard listening to songs end and going into commercials. You know, I knew what station you were listening to by hearing a sound of a song.
Hmm.
You know, because I used to work there. I mean, but you know, it's really funny how the frequencies and stuff, and that's so much part of my work that when I shut down and I just, like at night when I hear the animals eating and it's crickets, even cars going by is part of my piece.
Hmm.
You know, it's just Joyce says, I love Teri's office atmosphere, very calming. I love fountains and chimes. That's another thing. Some people don't like chimes, but I
Hmm.
love chimes. I just love them. Elizabeth says, fire is always calming, but Gracie and Gussie nix the candles in my life. Oh, I'm feeling you on that one.
Yeah.
Feeling you. Rhonda says, sometimes I have to listen to music to shut off everything else, or I watch a video that's a music video.
Hmm.
The binaural beats for me that you turned me on to, that relaxation music has been, that was one of the biggest peace gifts that you've ever given me.
They're lovely, aren't they?
It's life changing. If you don't know what we're talking, binaural, two ear, the binaural, binaural beats. It's, you can just put it on YouTube. It's free. You can listen, and you can listen with your earbuds. Or, I mean, I just listen in the house. I just turn it on and listen. If you have an Alexa, just say, Alexa, play binaural beats for relaxation or whatever. And that will, it's amazing what that will set as far as your pattern.
Hmm. Absolutely. Well, it binaural beats, white noise, you know, brown noise, blue noise, all the noises, you know, they all affect different waves of the brain,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And when you're listening to the, it's the same thing as it calms you down from the inside out faster than a person
Mm-hmm.
recognizing they need to calm down, and then they try to put themselves in an environment to calm down.
Mm-hmm.
Binaural beats just starts to calm you from the inside out, and so it feels better, you know. And I tell people all the time, if you're trying to do the relaxation, if you're trying to do the grounding, not to listen to the ones that are labeled with anything remotely around breaking negative thought patterns, because a lot of people will say, well, I want to break some negative thought patterns and I want to relax. And I'm like, well, you're not going to get both of those out of one the same binaural beats, because
Mm-hmm.
they have very calming music, and then all of a sudden there's a high pitch, like a ding, that goes off. And that's because it's letting your brain get in a brainwave, and then it's breaking it out. And then it's letting it get in a brainwave or flow, and then breaking it out. And that's not the same. That doesn't bring people peace when they're trying to just like get their zen on, with their cup of
Mhm.
coffee or their cup of tea or their glass of buttermilk and cornbread, whatever their jam is,
Yeah.
where they're trying to just relax and be in the environment. Those loud, sharp noises are more charging than the quiet ones.
We don't have a lot of time left, but I want to bring up too, um, when we talk about negative people, and a lot of times we will have that is that they're just negative. And I don't know how to describe negative, because it's a great big label that, gets put on stuff. But I find myself that when I went in to work on myself, I was raised in a way that it, criticism makes you better. That's how I was taught. So I was always finding the things that could be made better about anything I ever did.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I just realized I'm not happy with that. I actually really like this, or I, whatever, I don't, it's not my job to make everything around me better by finding faults. It's my
Right.
job to make it better by enjoying it. If I get a blessing that comes my way, and it started just by changing myself, I'd catch myself going, I don't really like, wow, this is interesting. Framing it. And now when I'm around someone who constantly finds something wrong with the dinner, or I didn't like this very much, or I didn't like that very much, whatever, I'm struck by, oh, I wish I could impart to you that it doesn't have to be that way,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah. But that is going to be the chemical dumps that they get that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they have learned somehow or another the biases around everything is wrong, or, this is not good enough. This is too loud. This is too dark. They're stupid. They don't drive fast enough. I don't like you. Okay. That's kind of my
And,
standard for things. It's like, okay.
I actually used that this week, you know,
Okay.
I used that. I use that.
It's not it's not to be slight, it's
Hmm.
not to be disrespectful, it's not to be anything
No.
other than we have. I mean, I just had a moment, not long ago, where someone was triggering me, and as I say, like inviting me to the crazy dance, and
Uh-huh.
and I just punched the card. I was like, let's do this, and then about halfway through the let's do this, I was like, I have allowed someone to pull me out of my peace, and that is not okay with me. And you have to be
That's
first.
exactly where I am.
Yeah,
Hmm.
first you have to be accountable and go, you know what? I did that. I did it. I said, yep, give me that dance card. Ka-chunk, let's do this. Let's do the dance. But then I said, you know what? No, no, no.
Don't
This
have to
does
do it.
not sit in my soul. This does not, it might work for other people. It does not work for me.
Yeah.
And so we're human. So we screw up every once in a while.
Yeah.
But to catch it, to own it, and to know that when you catch it and you own it, they've already started the dance. So that shit ain't stopping anytime soon. So you've got to know how to back it up and how to
Hmm.
just, no, thank you.
Elizabeth says exactly. It takes practice and work, but we can reframe our thinking. When I start thinking negatively, I remind myself that it's temporary. It passes more quickly and doesn't keep me in the muck that way. Amen, sister. Because the more you catch it and find something good about the thing you were about to complain about, just a general thing in Nashville, traffic. People complain about the traffic and the weather. It's hot. It's just so hot. Well, it's August.
Right. And in December, it's cold. It's just so cold,
Mhm.
and in the spring, it'll be, oh, my allergies, I have a very dear friend, and I think about her. I've talked with her for several months. She's been a friend of mine in high school, friend of mine in college, a friend of mine in my 20s. We raised our kids together. Um, I'm mindful that this life is a gift,
Mm.
you know. And I'll get emotional talking about this, but she doesn't have many more days.
Mm.
She started her process. And am I this way with clients? No, but she is like my thumb. So
Mm.
um, when I see the chaos and when I see the unpeace and when I see the clutter, and I think to myself, why? Why do we do this to ourselves? You know, why do we entertain being around? When I think of my sweet friend, I think she's 2 years younger than me. She doesn't have but maybe a week left on this earth. And then I see people that intentionally want to create chaos, intentionally want all of that stuff. And I'm like, life is so short. It's over in a blink of an eye. And why not? If we can have chaos or we can have peace, why would we not choose something that soothes our soul like a balm? Like a healing balm that comes over us. Why would we not want that? And why would we not want that for everyone? And sometimes we fail at showing up that way. But other times, people can learn from it.
Mm.
First and foremost, we have to be true to ourselves and understand that we're human. You're going to have clutter sometimes. It's your responsibility to declutter. You're going to be invited to chaos. It's your responsibility to step outside that chaos. You're going to be instigated and triggered, and somebody's going to want you to dance the dance, and you're going to have to be responsible enough to say, even if you get out of your chair and you walk to the dance floor, you got to be responsible enough to go, you know what, this is not a healing balm for my soul. I choose not to do this. And also watch your words. I catch myself often when I'm talking with people and they'll say, well, what's on your schedule today? And I'll say, I have to go to the office. I catch myself because I don't have to go to the office. I get to go to the office.
Yeah.
I get that. So being mindful of just the little things, the cleaning the clutter, the creating the paint palettes, the getting our fires and our waters and our airs and everything in order. Those are all beautiful things.
Mm-hmm.
But never lose sight of the fact that this beauty is momentarily for us. And in the big picture, swim in it as much as you can because, it's nice.
It is nice. Well, there's some really great comments we're not going to get to today. Thank you, Regina. Or just as if you complain about things, nobody will listen to you. The problem is a lot of people listen and those things kind of go. And everybody's resonating with today as a gift. Rhonda and Elizabeth and everybody that's on here today and will be watching and in the replay. We're not saying get rid of people. What we're saying is teach by your example, find your peace. And you don't have to dance the crazy dance just because somebody else in your life is pulling you in.
No, I mean, if you didn't like sushi and somebody sat down across from you and said, hey, we're going to have pasta or sushi, here, have some sushi. You wouldn't necessarily force yourself to eat sushi because you don't like it. You would want what you want. You would want what's delicious to your palate. Live your life the same way, but understand that some people have that sushi palate or some people have that chaos palate. And if you're going to be in their circle, intentionally or caught off guard otherwise, know that you still maintain the ability to step out of that. And sometimes it's like you grabbed a live wire and you're trying to lay the live wire down and you just can't step away from it, but you have to. You have to, because if you don't, what happens is we go through life, and I used this analogy to somebody the other day. You go through life and you keep recreating yourself to fit the mold for everybody else, and what you're doing is, you're putting fresh coats of paint on, and they might be calming, peaceful coats of paint, and you look like you've been renovated. But what's happening is if people look close enough, they see that foundation is crumbling still. So you got to go in and do your work. And you got to know that even if you do your work, somebody can come by and hand you the end of a live wire. And some days you're going to want to grab it, but you just got to be responsible with yourself.
Yeah. Listen to your conversations as you're having them.
Yes.
Listen to what's coming out of your mouth as it's coming out of your mouth. It'd be great to listen to it before it comes out.
You know, it would be great, but also listen to or listen to hear, not to respond.
Right.
You know,
great thought.
And you know, and that's you can create space to sit there and run it through. Sometimes you can run it through your head before you say it, and if you do run it through your head before you say it, you're probably going to edit it quite a bit. But if you're like me and you talk to text, you just hit send, and then it's just some god awful stuff that pops back up. But again, that is a little different than punching the dance card and staying in this cycle of you know, clutter, chaos, discord, dis-ease, all of that.
Well, I want to encourage you all to find places that will make your heart feel good when you get rid of your clutter. I always say that nothing feels as good as donating somewhere and someone who is so grateful to have it. I had a bunch of my dad's clothes. My dad was an impeccable dresser and his clothes were amazing. And when he passed away, my mom shipped everything to me. So I could let him. And I walked out and there was a man who came up to my yard sale and he said, "You don't by any chance have any nice clothes for men?" And I looked at him. He was about my dad's size. He says, "I got a job." And he says, "I've been looking for a job for a long time and I don't have anything to wear to a nice job." And I said, "Wait 1 minute." And I brought out a box of jackets and sport coats and pants. And they fit this man as if he had gone to the store and bought. He goes, "These are not even worn." I said, "No, my dad didn't wear them very much toward the end, but he still loved to dress." And my dad wore a suit to get mail at the post office. You know, that's who he was. And so he said, "How much?" I don't have. I said, "No, these are yours."
Nice.
And it was, now I'm getting all emotional, but it's that feeling of he wasn't in there, but he's in there as it walks away. And I think about how happy my dad would be that someone would get to wear his clothes to sell insurance or to be a manager or to do whatever it was to get their fresh start. They got my dad's clothes. And it was such a gift for me in that. So if you've got clutter around, it's maybe not clutter. It might be emotional stuff that you just can't let go of. But as you let it go, find a place that's going to give it new wings. It's going to give you some joy and some peace in it. As I just have tears just falling down my face. This has been a really heavy day as we find our peace.
Yeah. It's like organ donation, right? Like you can just hang on to them and everybody's got their own preference. Or you can give them out, give them away when you don't need them anymore. And you give them new wings. They give life to someone else. You know, this man that you gifted with your father's clothes, you know, that's a gift that will keep giving because you gifted him those, and he gets to feel good, and he gets to feel a sense of pride, and he gets to feel gratitude. And your dad would love that.
I made him hug me before he left. This is a stranger that walked up. I said, "Can I hug you? You're exactly my dad's size, and I miss him so much."
Yes.
Shar says howdy, and she said, Joyce says, "I did that with my sister's clothes." God bless you, Joyce. If something happens to my sister, I hope I'm already in heaven to greet her because you just gonna have to just put me right in the ground. I know that would, that'd be hard. Jacqueline Marushka, this is beautiful. I wanted to get together with other ladies to do a closet swap with some other ladies' gowns, suits, and such. Maybe this is a God wink for me to actually do it. Oh, that is beautiful.
There you go.
My friend Whitney, we did that. Whitney Dane, Whitney's watching. We did that. We had a group together, and she was moving or whatever, and she brought out and we did some swaps. We did some just out and out purchases to help her with her new move, and it was so cool. It was just wonderful. Joyce says, Joy says, I felt that same way and still grieve her every day. Yes, it's so, that's so hard. I'm so sorry, Joyce. Char is having lunch with old friends. I'll rewatch later. Absolutely. Jacqueline say, hi, Whitney. Hi, sister. See, we all are connected. That's what social media, this is the good part of social media. We're going to close things down today. If you have a question about something or an idea or a topic, or maybe there's just a burden on your heart, you can send me a message at devonoday@gmail.com. And I'm going to turn it over to Sister Teri.
And I will say you can find me at terrypugh.com. Or on Instagram at Transcending Turbulence. And as we close out this day today, we, at the risk of being a broken record, I'll be a broken record. We so appreciate you all joining and choosing to spend your time and your energy with us. We love doing this, and it's so much more fun doing it with folks who show up intentionally and do reach out and give us great topics to talk about, and they walk the walk in life. And that's just a beautiful gift to be in the circle of those folks. And so we're so grateful for each and every one of you. And until we see you next Wednesday, which next Wednesday will be probably one from the vault, because this time next Wednesday, your girl here will be under the procedure of a cardiac ablation. So we might pre-tape one and have it for you guys, or it might be one from the vault. But we're going to be thinking about you.
And we're
either
going to be
way.
praying for Teri.
I'll take them all.
August 31st is the big day, and we're
it's
going to
be the 30th. It's next Wednesday.
Oh, so I had it wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's next Wednesday. I don't know yet what time I have to be there. They called me and told me the whole spiel about no eating, no drinking, no nothing, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And then said, we don't know if it'll be 6 o'clock in the morning or noon. And I was like, no eating. Wait a minute. 6 o'clock in the morning to noon. That's a big stretch.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's all good. I should be in and out in a day. And then back at life again. So I'm grateful. Yeah, I'm grateful. Well, I mean, I'm sure I'll be living large even when they got me knocked out and intubated, but I just won't know it. So,
Well, this whole group is going to be praying for you. # praying for Teri. And
I appreciate
you
that.
guys are just the best, and we love you.
And we do love you. And Joyce, don't burn those beans. And Jackie, get to that closet and do that swap with those people. And I know Elizabeth has got a great little reading nook in her apartment or her condo, because she shared that on social media, and it was precious. So until we see you all next week, and then live the week after that, increase your peace, and please create pockets of joy for yourself during the day. See ya.